With chapter 1 out of the way, I can now turn my attention to chapter 2, where things get more exciting. The first mission I will look at is Polite Society Valentine style. The objectives are as follows: return the lost wagon to its owner and find Karen within 45 seconds. This one is an easy one to get a gold medal on. I completed this mission during a regular playthrough rather than on a replay. There are some advantages to this, being that you can ensure that Arthur has gold cores, but for this mission it doesn't really matter either way. Arthur agrees to go into town with Uncle, and the girls also join you. You start in the driver's seat of the wagon, and you just need to follow the yellow waypoint marker as usual, whilst enjoying the girls' sing-along. The only advice I have at this point is, if you're on a regular playthrough, it's a good idea to whistle your horse and make it follow you to Valentine. Otherwise, you will be left without a ride after the mission is over. Whilst making your way to Valentine on the wagon, the first objective can be met by assisting the coach driver with his escaped horse. Make sure you slow the wagon to a stop using R1 or right bumper and get off the wagon and speak to the coach driver. Be sure to press L2 or the left trigger to interact with him. If you make a mistake and press R2 instead, you'll make Arthur pull out his sidearm, and this action will scare the driver off. If that happens to you, you will need to restart the mission because you would have failed the objective to help the driver. You then just need to go over to the white shy horse that has escaped and use the L2 or the left trigger button to calm it before approaching it. There's no time constraints for this mission, so it doesn't matter how long this part takes you.
Whoa, easy. Easy. You're okay.
Once the horse has been calmed, you then approach it and either lead it or ride it back towards the driver. It's actually quicker to ride it, but the choice is up to you really, whichever way you want to do it. As you walk towards the driver, Arthur will automatically let go of the reins. You're then free to get back on the wagon and start driving it again towards Valentine.
Well, anyway, thank you.
Come on, let's go.
To Valentine!
Now you just need to follow the yellow waypoint marker through to Valentine. You might have to stop when you get near the train station to let a train pass. There is a shortcut here at the crossroads by turning left instead of right if you're in a hurry. This will lead you directly to the stables as well, and you won't get penalised by Rockstar's harsh restrictions within missions. Either way, you will need to follow the road until you reach the stables and park the wagon up. Don't forget that in order to slow down the wagon, you need to use R1 or the right trigger. You will need to stop directly in the yellow circle for the next part of the mission to be triggered.
Man, Arthur Morgan.
Uncle will then take you to the store to introduce you to the delights of shopping.
You're my favorite parasite.
You don't need to actually buy anything in the shop if you don't want, even when the game prompts you to do so. In order to trigger the next cutscene, you can just ignore the game prompts and leave the store again. During the cutscene, Mary Beth will tell you that Karen was last seen going into the hotel and that Tilly is across the street having bumped into someone from her past. It's at this stage that we'll be meeting our last objective, which is to find Karen within 45 seconds. The 45 seconds will not start until you've gone across the street to defend Tilly.
You're making a big mistake, Tilly Jackson.
Just get lost.
You have enough time here to get rid of the man, but as soon as he walks away, don't delay and run straight towards the door of the hotel.
They're across the street.
Okay. Thanks, Arthur.
Uncle, look after her. I'm gonna go see about Karen in the hotel.
When you walk in the door, you don't need to waste time by speaking to the hotel owner. You just need to run straight up the stairs. Turn right at the top of the stairs and Karen will be in the very last room at the end of the corridor. Once at the door, you will see a prompt to allow you to kick the door in. And once you're through the door, you will have met your last objective.
Get out of here, buddy. I paid.
The rest of the mission focuses on Arthur being spotted by someone who recognises him from Blackwater. There are no further objectives or time constraints for this mission, and you can deal with the man from Blackwater in whatever way you choose to do so. I hope you find this guide helpful. Please do let me know in the comments section if you have any other helpful advice for others that I haven't included here.
Not one lick.
A link to the playlist for my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with many other helpful guides I've created for all aspects of this game.
Come on. You have a knife?
Another easy gold medal you can get is for the mission Americans at Rest. The objectives are as follows: save Javier within 15 seconds and defeat Tommy within 1 minute and 30 seconds. As you'll see from this footage, I completed this during a normal playthrough where I always save the game prior to a mission just in case I mess up. This is one advantage where you can go into the mission with a full gold health core. However, this is an easy mission, so doing it on a replay should not hinder you either. This mission starts when you walk into the saloon in Valentine to find Javier and Charles trying to get lucky with some ladies. A drunken Bill stumbles into the saloon and immediately starts a bar fight. It's down to Arthur to save the day and help his friends. Most of these fights in this mission are extremely scripted, and it's where the game is teaching you how to fight with your fists and how to block. To punch someone, you press circle or B on the Xbox controller. You can block an attack by using the square button or X on the Xbox controller, and you can grab someone by the neck by pressing triangle or Y on the Xbox controller. With the first man you have to fight, just follow the prompts to defeat him. We aren't on a timer for this bit, so it doesn't matter how long you take, but just be mindful of your health core here, and if you take damage, use a health tonic. Using tonics in this mission does not affect you getting the gold medal. Once he's down, you can then choose which gang member you want to help out. I usually go straight over to where Bill is fighting and punch one of the men surrounding him. Once you do this, it will trigger the entrance of Big Tommy, who walks down the stairs.
Tommy, stay out of this! Come here, you little greaser!
As Tommy walks down the stairs, he has Javier in his sights. But as you come out of the cutscene, you immediately get attacked by someone that you need to grapple with before you can go over and save Javier. Just follow the button prompts by pressing circle or B on the Xbox controller, and once you're free, you must immediately walk over to Tommy and punch him. You need to be quick here because this is your first objective to save Javier, who is being attacked by Tommy within 15 seconds. With that done, Tommy will then grab hold of Arthur and throw him through the saloon window, starting the last part of the mission. Once out of this small cutscene, you will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to defeat Tommy. This is more than enough time to beat the timer. Just remember, if your health is low, to top yourself up with a health tonic. The fight with Tommy is scripted, meaning that there are certain moves that have to take place so you can defeat him. Use block to prevent taking damage, but don't use it too much, otherwise you will prevent the game from moving forward to the scripted moves where Tommy throws you to the ground and where you successfully manoeuvre yourself out of Tommy's grips to finally defeat him. My advice is mostly using the punch mechanic to move the script forward, but use block where you feel it necessary to protect your health. You can see here the screen takes on a red hue when the outer bar of my health core has depleted. This would be the moment that you may wish to take a health tonic, but I know at this moment the game has moved on to the last scripted move of Tommy's, so it's not necessary to do so. When Arthur overcomes Tommy and throws out these punches, you know that the fight is almost over, and Mr. Downs will come in to stop the fight from continuing. With both objectives now met, you can either watch or skip the next cutscene in order to earn your gold medal. A very easy one to achieve. I hope you find this guide helpful. Please do let me know in the comments section if you have any other helpful advice for others that I haven't included here. A link to the playlist for my guides and gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. Despite what you think, Exit Pursued by a Bruised Ego is a simple and easy gold medal to get. The objectives are: track the bear within 1 minute and 30 seconds, shoot the bear at least 6 times, and complete the whole mission within 12 minutes. There are clear opportunities within this mission to save you some time, so we'll talk you through these. As with other missions, I completed this during a normal playthrough and not a replay. The advantages of doing it on a normal replay are being able to have full health cores and access to better unlocked weapons, depending on what part of the story you're at when you're doing the replay. However, due to there not being any proper combat in this mission, it doesn't really matter either way. At the beginning, Hosea will suggest that you should take the black shy horse he acquired and sell it at the stables in Valentine. This serves two purposes for new players. It teaches them how to unsaddle their horse and put it on another one, and it unlocks the actual stable where you can buy and store your future horses. So just follow the game's prompts and don't delay in saddling up the shy horse and mounting up.
I guess you're right.
Once mounted, wait for Hosea and follow him to Valentine. The game will not allow you to ride too fast here, but make sure you ride as fast as it allows you to do so that you don't fall behind.
Came back in the next day and he woke up, started right back drinking again.
I will leave some of this journey in here so you can see how fast the pace was when I was riding with Hosea. As you can see, the game is very strict when controlling how fast you can go.
Tell he was sweet on her.
Well, Lenny and Jenny could never have worked. That's like Arthur and Martha, or Bill and Phil.
Once you reach Valentine, you will be directed to enter the stable and sell the black shy horse and buy a new one. This is where there is potential to save some precious time to ensure we meet that objective to complete the mission within 12 minutes. You don't need to waste time naming the horse or upgrading it. Once the horse is sold, immediately pick the most appropriate horse you want. If you're on a replay, it doesn't matter what horse you get. However, I'm not on a replay, and I spend a bit of time here by getting my free horse because I have the Ultimate Edition, and also even taking the time to name it. It's still possible to get the gold by quickly getting these upgrades if you really want to. But as you can see, I don't hang about because I can always come back and give my new horse more upgrades at a later date. Once you're back in control of Arthur, he will be leading the horse. Instead of leading the horse completely out of the stable, I immediately drop the reins and mount up straight away. If you've played this mission before, you'll know that you will turn left here and follow Hosea. Don't be tempted to jump ahead here though. If you immediately ride left without Hosea being ready, he won't follow you. So just make sure that he takes the lead first so there are no delays. Again, the game will stop you from riding at full speed for a while. Just make sure you're riding as fast as you can here, which will make sure Hosea keeps up the pace. As you can see, you can force Hosea to ride at a decent pace before heading into the next fast travel cutscene. Once you're out of that cutscene, you will now be up in the mountains. Just follow Hosea for a while and make sure you have a decent gun ready, because as soon as you see a rabbit, you will need to kill it straight away. I usually have the varmint rifle ready for this bit. This will save you valuable time. As you can see here, I kill the rabbit so fast, Hosea and Arthur's dialogue can't keep up. I'm confident with the pace I'm doing this mission, so I even take the time to skin the rabbit for one of the challenges. But it's not necessary, so if you are worried, just pick the rabbit up and run straight towards Hosea, leaving your horse where you got off. I'm going to leave this part of the footage in with me actually mounting the horse, so you can see that even this doesn't delay me too much with regards to the time limit objective. But again, if you're worried about the time limit, running to Hosea with the rabbit in hand and not skinning it will shave off a few of those seconds. As soon as you reach Hosea, be ready to immediately bring up your weapon wheel using L1 or the left bumper. Press R1 or right bumper to go into the items tab, and then locate the camp at 6 o'clock and set up your camp. As soon as you're back in control of Arthur, the game will ask you to cook the rabbit, so be ready for this prompt and don't delay cooking it. If you hold down the X button, or the A button on the Xbox controller, this will make Arthur press hard over the fire, and it will speed up the cooking process. Make sure you eat the rabbit when prompted, but don't choose to cook another one. Simply press the back button to exit the crafting menu. You then just need to wait for Hosea to tell you he's tired and wants to go to sleep, and you will then get a prompt to sleep. Tap X or A on the Xbox controller without delay to trigger the next cutscene. This camping part of the mission is one of the best ways to shave off time in order to beat the 12-minute timer. So make sure you're paying close attention to all those button prompts. When you come out of the cutscene, Arthur will be sat at the fire, and Hosea will ask you to craft some predator bait. Again, be ready for those button prompts and immediately craft it. Once crafted, get ready to hit the back button to exit the crafting menu as soon as it appears. If you keep hold of the back button and don't let go, it will automatically select the next prompt to tear the camp down all in one go. You will then be back in control of Arthur once again, so mount up straight away and follow Hosea to the next part of the mission. Try to ride as fast as you can to make Hosea ride at a decent speed.
Truth is, there's never really any...
Once you reach this next part of the mission, it will trigger another timed section where you have to track the bear within 1 minute and 30 seconds. This bit is pretty easy once you know where the clues are and the route you need to go. So as soon as you get to this inlet next to the water, immediately dismount and run towards this rock and use Eagle Eye to find the clue. Once you've done this, use Eagle Eye once more and use R1 or right bumper to start tracking. You'll see the gold line showing up, showing you the direction to run in and where the next clue is. Follow the line as quickly as you can and use Eagle Eye to try and highlight where the clue is. Once you can see it, you can run directly towards it.
Wait a minute. Something on the ground here.
Study the next clue and use the same technique, run to the next one by tracking it in Eagle Eye. This one's a bit easier because the clue is not that far away, so you should immediately be able to see the end point without having to stop and use Eagle Eye all the time.
There's shit here. Watch your step.
Looks real fresh.
There's one more clue to get and follow, using Eagle Eye and running as fast as you can. As you can see here, you don't have to actually run that far because the trail is lost. This will trigger a small cutscene where you're asked to either set up bait or go separately to hunt the bear. The quickest option is to split up.
Okay, I'll head this way.
As you come out of the cutscene, start running straight on and you will see a yellow area on the map that you will have to search for a clue. Once you arrive, just like the others, use Eagle Eye to pinpoint exactly where the clue is, and then click on it following the button prompt. As soon as you do this, you will hear the sounds of Hosea calling you. Don't delay and run around to find Hosea. A small yellow dot will appear on your minimap showing you which direction to run in. You don't have to run too far before the next cutscene is triggered and you see Hosea being chased by the bear. It's at this point that another of your objectives can be met, and this time is to ensure you shoot the bear at least 6 times. This bit isn't difficult at all, because as soon as you leave the cutscene, you are immediately put into Deadeye. Just keep firing like mad until the bear runs away. With that done, you will find Hosea hiding behind a rock, so immediately run to him to trigger the very last cutscene, where you can either choose to stay and hunt the bear or travel back with him. I don't think either option is that much quicker, but maybe staying behind to hunt the bear might be slightly quicker. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. A link to the playlist for my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. The next mission I'm going to focus on is paying a social call. The objectives for this mission are: silently kill 4 O'Driscolls, get 12 headshots, complete with at least 80% accuracy, and complete the mission without taking any health items. This mission can be a little tricky, and you'll need to master the use of Deadeye, which will increase your chances of getting those 12 headshots. I will link a video in the description which provides further advice about maintaining your cores, including Deadeye, that might help you with this. In order to meet the last objective I just mentioned, you must finish the mission without taking any health items. This means you should not use any health tonics. This includes Miracle Tonic, which boosts all 3 of your attributes. If you die or eat during the mission, this will also fail that objective. The use of specific Deadeye tonics such as snake oil or chewing tobacco will not affect it. I completed this mission during a regular playthrough and not as a replay, so I always save my game prior to starting the mission just in case I mess up and have to start again. The advantage of this is that you can start the mission with full yellow health and Deadeye cores. However, doing this on a replay is still achievable and has the advantage of being able to select a better weapon to use depending on what part of the game you are replaying from. During a replay, you're also given a select number of Deadeye tonics, which is more than enough for your needs. We start the mission by following Kieran's directions to a place called 6 Point Cabin, where the gang believe that Colm O'Driscoll is hiding out. The objectives don't kick in until we reach the cabin, so I'll skip ahead to when we arrive. As we arrive, Bill nags you to take out the throwing knives. However, the use of these knives to meet your objectives isn't actually necessary. Just make sure that you take your favourite repeater and your bow with you. The first objective we will be completing is to kill 4 O'Driscolls silently, and to achieve this I'm going to use the bow. However, the throwing knives will meet that objective too if those are your preferred stealth weapon. During this first part of the game, you will be asked to give the gang directions of how you want to progress. Always take the lead and don't let the gang rush in until you've stealth killed at least 4 of the enemies. The first thing you will need to do is tell Bill that you will take the lead and deal with the first O'Driscoll that's standing by the tree. As you can see here, I immediately get my bow ready and move slightly forward to line up my shot. If you do this right, you will kill the enemy silently with your bow and also make sure you get a headshot on him. Remember that if you miss this, it will go against your other objective of completing the mission with 80% accuracy. You also need to be careful here and not advance forward too quickly, or you will break your stealth. If that happens before you have stealth killed 4 of them, then you will have failed that part of the objective and will need to restart. For the next 2, tell Bill you want to do a range kill and take out one of them with your bow. With that done, move slowly forward again, staying behind the gang so you don't alert the O'Driscolls, and when prompted, tell John you will deal with the enemy sitting on the log. You will have the option here to either approach the enemy and knife them down, or use the bow. Be sure to use your bow so that you can line up another headshot. It's much easier at this stage to stay in stealth as much as possible so that you can meet the objective of getting 12 headshots. Once you're out of stealth, getting headshots becomes a lot harder because you will have to compete with the gang. When prompted, make sure you select the option to take the lead. We need to get at least 1 more stealth kill, and we can use this opportunity to get a couple more headshots in before being spotted. When you are by the log, move around the camp to the left hand side and try to eliminate all the enemies surrounding the camp in stealth. As you can see here, I'm waiting for the enemy to move into position before I take out the next one directly in front of me so that he doesn't spot me. With 2 more down in stealth and making sure I've got headshots on them, I continue moving around the left side of the camp to avoid the centre. I will let this part play out now so you can see how careful I was lining up the shots until the point I get spotted and the main shootout commences. Once you get spotted, it's time to work on the rest of the headshots you need, taking care to make sure you don't miss. Any missed shots here will reduce your accuracy, and remember that one of your objectives is to get 80% accuracy for the entire mission. Keep an eye on your minimap so that you can locate the enemies quickly. You will be competing at this point with the rest of the gang, so if you're slow in locating them, you may miss out on more important headshot opportunities. At this stage of the game, you will not be able to tag enemies in Deadeye to help with getting headshots, so the only advice that I can give you is to aim above their heads after you've activated Deadeye, and then move the gun slowly down towards their heads to make it easier for you. Remember, you can use snake oil or chewing tobacco to help replenish your Deadeye, but do not eat anything or use any health tonics.
We catch you unawares!
Die, you drunk idiots! Run and hide if you know what's good for you.
Eventually, the O'Driscolls will back off, and with any luck, you should have met all your objectives for this mission. The only thing left to do is to let the rest of the mission play out, where you accept Kieran finally as a member of the gang and enter the cabin for your rewards. As I said at the start, this mission can be a little tricky to get gold on, and due to its length, will be frustrating if you have to repeat it. If you don't get this one in the bag, there are plenty more easier ones to focus on for the Gold Rush trophy. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. Please do let me know in the comments section if you have any other suggestions that I haven't included here. A link to the playlist for my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. Let's take a look at the mission A Quiet Time next. This by far is probably the most entertaining mission in the game, and once you do it for the first time you will wish you hadn't, so you can experience it all over again for the first time. The objectives are simple once you know how, and they are as follows. Try to make amends with an old rival, catch Lenny in the act, and don't get arrested. This one is easy. It doesn't matter whether you do this on a replay or as part of a regular playthrough. We start in camp talking to Dutch when Lenny rushes in to tell you that Micah has been arrested and is being held in a jail cell in Strawberry. Dutch then asks you to take Lenny for a drink into Valentine to calm him down.
Valentine, not Strawberry.
This first part is simple when you ride to Valentine with Lenny, so we'll pick up as we arrive at the saloon. The first objectives are not met until you've lost Lenny for the first time, so go ahead and head for the bar and follow the game's instructions.
Just one or two, right, Arthur?
Of course, just a drink. No big drama. Can we get a couple beers, please?
I don't want no trouble.
You'll get none from me. I was defending myself.
Tommy, he's...
He'll be fine. Here, have one for yourself.
Leave the fool alone.
It doesn't really matter how you deal with the man at the bar annoying Arthur and Lenny. Personally, I like to wait for the option to beat him so I can throw him out the bar.
Get the hell off me! Get out of here!
With that done, there will be another small cutscene as Arthur and Lenny down a few more drinks. When out of the cutscene, Arthur is more than a little tipsy and Lenny is nowhere in sight. This is the time that we can meet our first objective, which is to make amends with an old rival. In the centre table of the saloon you will find Tommy, who we first met during a bar fight in the mission Americans at Rest. To make amends with him, you just need to interact with him and keep doing this until you are no longer able to do so.
You ever wonder if life is a brutal waste of time? Yeah, I think you're right, partner.
Once you're sure you've done this, you can now head up the stairs in search of Lenny. The next thing I do is turn left at the top of the stairs and then turn right in order to get to a room at the end of the hallway.
Wouldn't know. Lenny, where are you?
This part is optional at this stage and it doesn't meet any objectives, but it's a funny cutscene that you might not have discovered already. It's also the room you will need to come back to in order to catch Lenny in the act later. After this, you can go ahead and find Lenny, who will be standing on the same level, balancing a glass on his head for some reason.
What are you doing, kid?
Hello? I don't know.
There will then be another short cutscene as Arthur feels sorry for himself and tells Lenny he can never find a woman because no one would have him. I have a feeling that some people might disagree with that. What do you think?
Get away from me!
After this, Lenny will disappear yet again, but it's not too difficult to find him this time because you find him standing on the bar throwing things at the other patrons. Go downstairs and rush to Lenny's defence for the next cutscene.
Leave the kid alone, you goddamn animals!
Who do you think you're talking to?
Nobody. I'm talking to nobody.
Mouth, mister.
Once out of the cutscene, we're now forced into first-person mode, which works extremely well in convincing you how drunk Arthur is. The next thing you need to do is head back into the bar to find Lenny, who appears to have gone missing again. You won't find Lenny until you've interacted with a few of the patrons, so take the time now to meet the next objective. Head for the stairs, turn left at the top like we did last time, and then turn right to head for the door at the end of the hallway.
How many of you had, pal?
When you enter the room this time, you will be greeted by a female getting some action with a bar patron that looks like Lenny. Once done, this will meet the objective of catching Lenny in the act. After this, go ahead and just greet some more of the Lenny lookalikes until Lenny finds you again.
Do I look like a Lenny to you?
There you are, Lenny.
I'm Clyde. You got the wrong fella.
Once he does find you, you can go ahead and have a good slapping contest with him before moving into the next cutscene. During the cutscene, you will be back dealing with the man who annoyed you earlier. Drown him or don't drown him, it makes no difference to the outcome of this mission. Eventually, Lenny and Arthur have caused such a disturbance that the local law will be chasing after them. During this small chase, you will need to meet your next objective and avoid being arrested. You won't have much control over Arthur, but try to avoid knocking into things and turn right behind the building. Arthur will then be facing a fence which you need to make sure you successfully hop over to stop the law from reaching you. Just be ready to hit the jump button as soon as it's clearly visible. If you made the jump correctly, the next thing you'll see is Arthur waking up first thing in the morning near Flatneck Station. Thank you so much for watching. A link to the playlist for my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. Our first proper introduction to Reverend Swanson is during the mission Who is Not Without Sin. It's also where the Gambler Challenge is unlocked. The main objectives you need to meet are as follows. Win 2 hands at poker and return Reverend to camp within 2 minutes and 5 seconds. We find the Reverend playing poker at Flatneck Station. It's clear he's had one too many and Arthur is asked to join the game in the Reverend's place. Your first objective can only be met if you accept to play with them. The Reverend quickly disappears out of the doorway as Arthur takes his place at the table. Our first objective is to win 2 hands at poker. I'm not about to give you a crash course in how to play poker in this video. To be honest, I wouldn't have a clue how to do it in a real life situation. Luckily, that shouldn't be too much of a problem for this gold medal, as I can give you some pointers that should help you get at least 2 wins. The first round of poker is designed to ensure that Arthur will always win. Therefore, when it's your turn, you can start by raising the amount you are bidding until it says the words all in. Let the scene play out and you will get your first win. Once Arthur wins the first round, the Gambler Challenge is unlocked.
So here.
Pile of crap.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
After this first game, it will be down to pure luck how long it will take you to get the next win. The main aim of poker is to get a high set of matching cards or a flush of the same suit. The higher your cards, the higher your chance of winning. If when you're dealt cards that are low, you can keep folding until you have some decent cards. By that I mean at least 1 or more jacks, queens, kings or aces. You need to compare what you have in your hands with the ones laid out on the table. I decide to keep the cards here that I've been dealt with because I'm holding a 9 and together with the 2 9s on the table, this means that I have at least 3 9s to play with. Another tactic for winning is to go all in right at the beginning in order to intimidate the other player into folding. I was lucky with the cards I got here and managed to get my second win straight away, but it may take you a few tries.
Let's move along.
Once you've secured your second win, you can leave the table and start your search for the Reverend.
Where'd he go?
I don't know.
Ah, shit. Excuse me, gentlemen.
If you're in a
Excuse me,
hurry,
I'm
you
sorry.
don't need
You
to
see
speak
a
with these
drunken
two
idiot
men to ask
priest
if they've seen
wandering
him.
about?
You can just
Sure,
run straight
we
past
saw
them
him,
to the yellow area
smelled him,
indicated on
and
your minimap.
avoided him. He went that way, I think. Thanks. Hey!
As you run towards the yellow area, prepare for a battle. This man that wants to fight you is surprisingly tough. So, to make it easier, I always take my knife out beforehand to speed up the fist fight.
I didn't say a word. You'll keep. You stay out of it.
Get your hands off him now, you son of a bitch.
What the hell is your problem?
He's with me.
Oh my God, you killed him. I'm gonna get the law.
With that done, a witness will take off, threatening to report you to the law. At this point, you have the choice to either use the interact button to ask him to stop, and then you can threaten him, or you can do what I did and just shoot him. The reason I actually shot him in this instance, though, was because for some reason interacting with him didn't work. Once you've either shot him or threatened him to keep him quiet, do not carry on running. If you do, the mission will fail, as the game thinks the law has been alerted for some reason. Instead, just stay where you are and wait to see the Reverend running across the bridge. Once the game highlights this for you, it's safe to start running up the hill in order to get to the bridge. You then need to get on the bridge and save the Reverend from the oncoming train. Use a stamina tonic if necessary if Arthur is getting tired. In order to get the Reverend's foot unstuck, you just need to push the left stick forward and then tap X constantly, or A if you're using an Xbox controller. Once you've done this, a cutscene will be triggered. Once that cutscene is finished, the timer for your last objective will start, and that is to get the Reverend back to camp within 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Let's get you home.
Home. Yeah, that's a wonderful idea.
As soon as you're back in control of Arthur, the timer will start, so you need to be quick in picking him up and putting him on the back of your horse.
So sleepy.
Missed you, boy.
Once on the horse, you can roughly follow the way marker the game has set for you. I tend to stick to the left-hand side of the track here, but if you actually want to ride on the track, I don't think it will actually make that much difference. Ride the horse as fast as you can, and if you haven't got a high bonding with it yet, remember that if you keep calming the horse by pressing the L3 button, or the left trigger on the Xbox, then this will keep your horse's stamina from depleting. You can also give your horse a stamina tonic as well if you're worried. I will let this play out now so you can see the rest of the ride back to camp. As you ride into the camp, the game will be prompting you to hitch your horse. You can ignore this and instead head to the left-hand side of the camp as far as you can go. Once you reach the last wagon here, dismount before you are told off for riding the horse in camp. You can then remove Swanson from the back of your horse and take him to his tent. As you can see here, I managed to get him back in plenty of time. I do have a fast horse though, so it might take you a little bit longer.
You better sleep your way to salvation, my friend.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. A link to the playlist for my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. Welcome back to another one of my gold medal guides, and this time we'll be collecting money from Mr. Downs. As much as we want to avoid this mission because of the consequences, this is actually an easy one when you know how, and that is why I'm including this in my list for you. There's only one objective, and it's a frustrating timed one where we must finish it within 2 minutes and 10 seconds. This is a really short mission, so I'll show the entirety of it. I'm doing this in a normal playthrough, but doing it on a replay holds no disadvantage. Once you arrive at the Downs Ranch, immediately head towards the fenced-off garden plot where you will find Thomas Downs. As soon as you dismount from your horse, choose the option to confront Mr. Downs and walk towards the gate. The game will prevent you from moving forward for a few seconds, and then Arthur will automatically go through it to get closer.
Please, sir.
The only advice I can give you during this part is not to overbeat Mr. Downs, or it will interfere too much with the dialogue and cause a delay in this part of the mission from completing.
We took your word. Now we'll take your hide. Why'd it have to come to this, huh?
Believe me, sir, I didn't want this either.
If you'd been good, this wouldn't be happening.
Whilst this cutscene is playing out, I want to briefly mention about timed events and cutscenes. I've timed the entire length of this mission, and it's calculated that the length to be 2 minutes and 58 seconds, including this long cutscene. This cutscene is actually about 1 minute and 30 seconds long. During testing and previous attempts, I know that the method I will show you of navigating our arrival in camp only shaves off a few seconds, so I'm not entirely sure how Rockstar calculate the mission timer or what is included. All I know is that the method I'm showing you works and will get you gold. I've seen many comments in relation to whether cutscenes are measured against timers, and there doesn't seem to be a definitive answer. Some say that skipping cutscenes glitches the timer and prevents you getting gold. However, on this mission I've tried leaving the cutscene in and skipping it, both of which I was able to achieve a gold medal with. If you're concerned, however, my advice is to let the cutscenes play out. The last part of this mission, as you come out of the cutscene and gain control of Arthur, is vital. The game will want you to dismount from your horse and walk through camp in order to reach Strauss. But as I'm sure you know, you cannot run through camp to get to him. As soon as you can, direct your horse to ride around the right side of the camp. You need to really hug the right hand side completely to avoid the go slow zone. Watch the path I take here to get to Strauss. You will be forced to ride slower, but it's still quicker than walking. Dismount near the rocks and walk a few steps to reach Strauss.
How did you get on?
Not so good.
After this, there will be another
almost
cutscene.
dead.
Let it play
They
out
seem
is
more
my
or less
advice,
destined
and
to
then the
be a
mission
fool
will have
for letting them
completed
money.
once Arthur walks away.
People who aren't desperate don't seem so interested in my
Thank you for
propositions.
watching, and I hope you found this helpful. A link to the playlist for my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. We've now reached the midway mark for Chapter 2, and it's time to get gold for the Spines of America mission. The objectives are as follows: loot everything from Carmody Dell, don't get spotted, and deliver the wagon to Emerald Ranch within 1 minute and 10 seconds. This isn't that tricky as it first seems, and I'm about to show you exactly how to do it. Firstly, as you can see, I'm playing this during a normal playthrough, making sure I save the game beforehand in case I mess up. However, doing this on a replay has no disadvantages for achieving the gold medal. We start off by meeting Hosea at Emerald Ranch, who is setting up a business deal with Seamus, who asks you to steal a wagon from his cousin by marriage.
But you're fine with us robbing your cousin.
By marriage. And yes, I'd love marriage.
You heard the man.
Once out of the cutscene, it's down to Arthur to lead the way. There isn't a timer to this first part, so it doesn't matter how long you take to get there. But I usually head left around the ranch rather than following the game's waypoint.
Really?
Really? Lead the way. He said the place is just northwest of here.
We'll skip ahead now until we get to Carmody Dell so we can focus on the main objectives.
What you call it?
Once you arrive, follow the game's instructions to hide behind a rock with Hosea and wait for the next cutscene to kick in.
Let's see what we're dealing with. Come on. Okay.
Hosea will explain that if you do it now, he will help to distract the ranch owners whilst Arthur sneaks in and takes the wagon, or he suggests to wait until night time when they are all asleep.
Or wait until night.
The game will give you both options, and in order to get the gold, the best option is to steal the wagon during the night, so go ahead and choose that option.
Let's wait.
When the cutscene finishes and you're back in control of Arthur, it's time to get on with our first objective of looting everything in the house. As you approach the house, you can go straight in through the front door, but make sure you're crouching to reduce the noise. Directly left from when you enter the house is a chest. Loot the chest of all its contents, but make sure you close the lid afterwards. Closing it will ensure that you do not get spotted, which is your second objective. You must close every drawer, cabinet or wardrobe you loot from now on during this mission. There is a bottle of bourbon sitting on this table that you need to loot, and as you can see, it's a little tricky to get the button prompt up to collect it. If you're full on bourbon, go into your satchel, discard it or drink it so that you can pick this one up. On the windowsill here is a cigarette card, but I don't think it counts towards the looting because it doesn't add any value to your total. Before going to the other side of the room, I then quietly open the door of the back bedroom where there is someone sleeping in the bed. They are all very heavy sleepers in this house, so don't worry too much. Beside the bed is a chest you can loot. There's also a medicine cabinet and finally a chest of drawers. Remember that if you can't pick something up because your bag is full, discard what you're holding so you can collect the item. You must also remember to close every drawer and the door to the medicine cabinet. The easy way to close all the drawers here is to keep your button held down instead of doing them individually, and Arthur will automatically close them all for you. You can also use Eagle Eye, which will highlight all possible loot locations within the room. You might see different items to pick up in these cupboards. The main thing is to double check you've picked up everything. Once you're done, the game will prompt you to find Hosea outside. But we aren't done looting yet, as there's plenty more in the house. Once you're done in the back bedroom, head back into the front room, and now we're going to head towards the stairs. Before we get there, we pass through a small kitchen where you will find a carrot and an apple on the sideboard. Be sure to discard any in your bag to ensure you can pick them up. After that, do a 180 turn and loot the money out of the chimney. Next to the chimney there is a small alcove with another bottle of bourbon. I usually can't pick this up, but just double check yourself to make sure it's not lootable. We can now start slowly heading up the stairs. Remember to stay crouched. Upstairs we will find Bob Crawford himself fast asleep. Go directly to the wardrobe on the left side of the bed. You need to loot everything from this wardrobe and the drawers below it. The easiest way is to keep hold of the square button or the X on the Xbox controller, which will automatically open the door and loot the items in one go. It will not loot items you're full on, so watch out for that and discard them so you can pick them up. Close every drawer and door by continuously holding down the triangle button or Y button on the Xbox controller. Once you are done with the wardrobe, you can then move to the end of his bed where there is another chest to loot. Once looted, the value of total robbed should be around $240. However, this sum varies either lower or higher, so if it's not the same as mine, don't panic. The next thing I'm going to do is completely optional and does not affect your gold medal. However, it will be worth it if you're doing this in your normal playthrough because it's the chance of getting some extra cash. This extra cash is not part of the objective of looting everything in the house, so if you're on a replay, it's not worth doing. If you focus on Bob Crawford now and interact with him, you get the option to threaten him. Go ahead and do this and Arthur will demand to know where the hidden money is. This won't damage your second objective of being spotted. This is probably because Arthur beats him unconscious after finding out the money is under his bed. You will then get the option to loot an extra stash box worth $150. With that done, it's now time to exit the house the same way we came in and locate the wagon. As you can see, there's no need to crouch here, but move slowly down the stairs again. Once you're out the front door, you will find that Hosea has retrieved the wagon from the barn, so all you need to do is approach and get on it. However, this is the moment the last timed objective will kick in, so as soon as you're in control, drive the horses as fast as you can. You need to get the wagon back to Emerald Ranch within 1 minute and 10 seconds, so there is no time to lose. As I'm on a normal playthrough, I also make sure to whistle my horse to follow me. Because it's so dark, I've tried to tweak the video graphic settings to brighten it up a bit for you so you can see the route I take more clearly. I don't deviate too much from the yellow way marker at the beginning. I just try to cut the corners as much as I can. This is because straying too far off the path, you might run into some issues where you damage the wagon too much. In a short while, when I get to the second set of crossroads I pass, I will deviate from the route. So this is the first crossroads, but I will continue to follow the yellow marker for just a little bit longer.
Not bad at all. Take it easy, Arthur.
As you can see, as I approach the second crossroads, I now start to deviate from the path.
I won't forget that in a hurry.
I know it's now safer and I shouldn't run into too much trouble, so I guide the wagon left towards the end marker. I'm not entirely sure where Rockstar ends the timer here, but it seems you need to reach the outskirts of Emerald Ranch and not the barn itself to meet the timed objective of 1 minute and 10 seconds. I will leave the timer running because, as you can see, I've reached the barn at 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Hello, Seamus.
Once you've reached the barn, there are no more objectives to meet, so you can let the rest of the mission play out with all your fingers crossed that you did everything right. Once out of the cutscene, you can either choose to go with Hosea or stay at the ranch. It makes no difference. So there you have it. Hopefully first time lucky for you. A link to the playlist for my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. Finally, we get to a mission where there's some fun action to participate in. The first shall be the last is where we rescue Sean from some bounty hunters, and the objectives are as follows. Silently kill the bounty hunters by the river with Javier, shoot the rope to free Sean, get 10 headshots and complete the mission without taking any health items. To meet that last objective, you cannot take any tonics that affect your health, so watch out for this and don't eat anything or use a miracle tonic. Miracle tonics affect all 3 of your cores and therefore will fail that objective. However, taking snake oil or chewing tobacco will not count and can be freely used. As you can see here, I'm doing this in a regular playthrough, which allows me the advantage of being able to give Arthur full yellow health cores before starting it. I always save my game first before doing so, just in case I mess up. If you're doing this on a replay, Rockstar are generous with the tonics and items you get in your loadout, so it shouldn't be too difficult for you. Just take extra care to protect your health and use cover when you can. We start off the mission by looking at the town of Blackwater before then following Trelawney, who has a plan to help rescue Sean. This is one of those missions where there is a long build-up before the action and, more importantly, the main objective starts. In order to reduce the length of this video, I will skip to the part where we dismount from our horses and have to start engaging with the bounty hunters. For that reason, it can also be frustrating if you mess up towards the end of the mission, because you will have to redo the whole thing all over again. So after following Trelawney with the gang, he will then assist you by distracting 2 of the bounty hunters so that you can stealth kill them. There is not much advice I can give you here, just follow Javier's advice, stay low, and don't be tempted to rush in too fast. If you kill them silently and at the correct time, this should then be marked as one of your objectives to complete.
Action. Then you 2 sneak across and do the dirty on them.
Okay. Stay here.
If Javier makes a comment suggesting Arthur should have waited, it's likely that you've rushed this too quickly and this objective hasn't been met.
Let's get in the river.
I will let this part play out now so you can see how I did it.
Hold up, he's doing his thing.
Gentlemen! Gentlemen! Excuse me. Dear brothers, my wife is taken ill. Gravely ill.
What's the problem?
It's dear Bessie.
You take the one on the left.
Where is she?
Let's go now. Keep down.
I'm beside myself. If I lose Bessie, I lose everything.
Oh, calm down, mister.
I can't. I'm having a fit.
Okay, let's get after him.
A pleasure.
Come on.
With that done, it's now time to start working on the objective of getting 10 headshots. At this stage of the game, you will only have the first level of Deadeye to assist you. As I explained in previous gold medals, there are some tricks you can use to secure headshots. One trick when using auto-aim is to flick the left stick up before shooting, because this will directly reset your aim to the head. It gets easier the more you practice doing it. The other is when you're using Deadeye. You're not able to tag enemies at this stage of the game, but to counter this, aim above the head first, trigger Deadeye, and then lower the gun down to their head before taking a shot. My favourite option is to use Deadeye for this mission, so I will let this part play out so you can see how I did it. Remember to always protect your health and stay in cover as much as you can. Don't eat or use any type of health or miracle tonic. There are more bounty hunters to be found when we reach the camp, so don't stress too much during this part, but do try to get a couple of headshots if you can. Once you've finished off the bounty hunters on the ground here and the one on the cliff, be prepared and ready for the next ones to ride in from the left. Even from a far range, if you use my technique of aiming above their heads before going into Deadeye, it should help to secure a headshot.
I see Charles up there. Quick, come on, let's get up there.
I've zoomed in the next two kills so you can see my technique of aiming above and dropping down the crosshair after triggering Deadeye.
Here's Charles.
All good?
Wouldn't go that far.
The camp's up this way.
Once this part is complete, we meet up with Charles and make a run for the camp. As Javier gives out commands, I keep running straight ahead and aim for the barrels ahead of me. This will protect my health and put me in a good position to see the hut on the right and the water tower on the left.
Maybe we should turn him in ourselves.
Still tapping.
This is the time to now really focus on securing the remaining headshots.
Shooting from the tower.
Pray while you can, man!
You move and I'll drop you.
That one was close.
Let's push forward.
Once you've dealt with all the enemies in the hut and the water tower, enemies will start to run towards you from the cliff ahead. So be quick to move now in order to get some more headshots before Javier and Charles beat you to it. Once those are dealt with, the bounty hunters will start to retreat. Before you do anything else, make sure you turn towards Sean, shoot the rope he's hanging from. This is one of the objectives you must meet for the gold. If you're on a regular playthrough, I recommend you thoroughly search the camp first and loot everything before freeing Sean completely. With that done, keep all your fingers and toes crossed that you've done enough to secure that gold medal. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any other helpful tips that you think will help others, please leave them in the comments section. A link to the playlist for my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. We now move on to the mission called Blessed Are the Meek. This mission I'm sure everyone wishes they could skip, but unfortunately we don't get that option and we have to break Micah out of jail. The objectives to meet are, while escaping, kill all mounted lawmen within 55 seconds, get 15 headshots, complete with at least 70% accuracy, and complete the mission without taking any health items. I've labelled this mission as tricky, and the hardest objective by far is to ensure you kill all the mounted lawmen as you flee Strawberry. However, it can also be difficult to secure at least 15 headshots, because if you're slow in taking enemies down, Michael will be quick to do so, and he's a pretty good shot. If you're concerned about this, then I'm about to show you an optional method of getting some extra headshots before you even break him out of jail. As you can see here, I'm completing this on a regular playthrough. There are advantages to this because you can make sure Arthur has full health and Deadeye cores. However, Rockstar are generous in providing enough tonics and other items if you're doing this on a replay. You should be confident in the use of Deadeye, as this will play a major part in your success for this gold medal. If you need a refresh, I've linked a video guide in the description about maintaining your cores, including Deadeye, which you should find useful. You can go straight to the jail window to trigger the mission without going anywhere near the sheriffs in the office. For the optional method of getting some headshots in before you get Micah out of the jail cell, make sure you have a bow equipped for a stealthier approach. After the first cutscene, your task will be to find a way to get Micah out of his jail cell, but you don't need to do this straight away and are free to run the circuit around the town of Strawberry with no restrictions. There are a handful of townsfolk still in the town, and this is an ideal time to start working on getting some headshots in. It's not great for the honour, but they will count towards your objective of getting 15 headshots.
You got to do something, Arthur.
Once out of the cutscene, this is our time to cause terror on the streets of Strawberry. The best approach is to actually crouch and do this, but as you can see, I was in a bit of a hurry and didn't do it, so a lot of the townsfolk started to run away from me. If you crouch and are more sneaky, it will help you line up your shots easier if they aren't running away. This is also a good time to mention the 70% accuracy objective. This objective means that it will allow you 30% of missed shots, so it's vital that when you target and shoot someone, you don't miss. As you can see here, I run around the circuit of Strawberry looking for victims to plant headshots on. Remember to take care here when aiming to make sure that you target their heads and also that you don't miss, so if they are moving, make sure you use Deadeye. In order to make sure your Deadeye doesn't drain, use snake oil or chewing tobacco before the outer bar depletes. If you allow the outer bar to deplete, the inner core goes red, and then targeting in Deadeye becomes very difficult. You also have to ensure that you complete the mission without using any health items. This means you shouldn't eat anything or use a health tonic or miracle tonic. A miracle tonic counts as a health item because it fortifies all 3 of your attributes. I'll speed this up now so you can see how many I end up getting, and we can then move on to the main part of the mission. Once you're happy you've found all the townsfolk, you can then trigger the next part of the mission. You can do this by either using the steam donkey or by throwing dynamite. As you can see here, I choose the steam donkey method. I will let this part play out so you can see how I do it, and then we'll move on to the fast-paced remainder of the mission, where I'll give you further tips on securing more headshots and staying one step ahead of Micah. Micah is a pretty good shot here, so you need to make sure he doesn't take many of the enemies down. At the same time, you also need to be quick, because if you let him run too far ahead, he will die. And as much as you disagree, the game will see this as a failure and you will have to restart the mission all over again. Any failures and the game will count this against you and you will not meet the objective of not using a health item.
Let's get out of here, come on. What the hell are you doing?
Once you're back in control of Arthur, you will be placed conveniently behind cover and will be presented with the first enemies to take down. At this stage of the game, you only have the first level of Deadeye to assist you. When you're using Deadeye, you're not able to manually tag the enemies and your auto tag will land wherever your crosshair is. So to counter this, aim above or near the head first. Trigger Deadeye and then manoeuvre the crosshair of the gun to their head before taking a shot. It will be of real benefit if you memorise the route you take around the town and where the enemies spawn from. From here we'll be heading across the bridge and then taking a left turn towards more enemies. Remember that before the outer bar of your Deadeye depletes, you should take snake oil or chewing tobacco to fortify the core. Letting the core turn red will make it much harder for you to control the aim. You also need to remember that any missed shot will affect your accuracy, so try not to miss anything. And try to stay one step ahead of Micah at all times. At the end of the bridge, we will turn left and face more enemies. We will then head towards the end of this small path and to a more open area, where some more enemies will approach from the other bridge on the left-hand side.
They got something of mine I ain't leaving without. Who? Wants to step Let's go.
Once these enemies are down, this will be Micah's cue to enter the house opposite and find his guns. If you stick around, you will hear the sounds of gunshots as he murders the occupants. The game presumes that you will wait for Micah whilst he does this, but we aren't going to, because remember, it's important we keep ahead of him at all times. Once he enters the house, we can keep going across the bridge to tackle the next batch of enemies. This gives us a better chance of securing some more headshots. What we're also trying to do here is reach the horses before Micah, allowing us time to get ahead of him for the last objective, which is to kill all mounted lawmen within 55 seconds whilst escaping. The last enemy is usually this one here. However, I have seen him also pull up on a horse from the right before in other attempts, so watch out for that if he isn't where you expect him to be. Meanwhile, Micah is still finishing off in the house, so this gives us the opportunity to mount up and be ready for the next part.
They had something of mine. My guns.
There are 4 sets of enemies that will try to take you down as soon as you escape Strawberry, and you must kill all of them. The first set of enemies actually spawns from the right of where I am now across the bridge, but I forget about that and ride past. In hindsight, I could have waited a little longer for them before rushing to beat Micah out of town. What's important to mention here is that you don't need to specifically get headshots on any of these lawmen. You just need to make sure you're the one that shoots them all. If you can try to drag your crosshair over both in one deadeye, that will help. You might also find it difficult to keep up with the direction of where you're going. I know this happened to me a lot when I was trying to get the gold for the first few times. Just try to keep Micah in your sight at all times and don't stray too far behind him. You may have to try this a few times before you get it right. Eventually, you will be able to anticipate where the next lawmen are coming from and be confident to keep up with Micah. There are a total of 4 sets of these lawmen you have to get down before the mission is complete. Use Deadeye for all of them to ensure you get hits on them all, because as I said earlier, any missed shots will go towards lowering your accuracy level. The last set of lawmen that arrive are probably the easiest if you've maintained a constant pace behind Micah, and you should be able to get them down in one Deadeye. Once Micah says, "Let's get out of here," you know your job is done, and you will just have to keep all your fingers and toes crossed that you've done enough to secure the gold. There will be one more cutscene to get through before discovering if you succeeded, and of course, just to prove I got the gold for this one, I'll leave that part in showing the medal come up for me and the objectives met. Thank you so much for watching. A link to the playlist with all my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. This video is going to focus on the gold medal trophy for the series of missions called We Loved Once and True. It starts at your tent in Horseshoe Overlook, where Arthur reads a letter from his ex-girlfriend Mary. This leads you to finding Mary in a house just north of Valentine, where she asks Arthur to help find her brother, who has joined a cult called the Chelonians. Many fans of the game are dismissive of Mary and are reluctant to help her. If you feel like this, then you're not alone, because I too would prefer not to help Mary at every step. However, if you're trying to rack up gold medals for the Gold Rush trophy, then you cannot afford to miss out on the last part of these missions, because part 3 is a very easy gold medal that you can obtain. Therefore, during the mission We Loved Once and True Part 2, where you visit Mary and Valentine, you must choose the option to help Mary. If you're doing these on a replay, you will have to repeat the second part and change to this option. Once you've done this, we will then get the mission We Loved You Once and True Part 3, which is where we get the gold medal. The objectives for this mission are as follows. Peacefully convince the Chelonians to let you take Jamie. Return Jamie to Mary within 2 minutes. As you can see, I'm doing this during a regular playthrough, but it does not provide any advantages in this instance, so completing it in a replay is just as easy. Our first objective is to peacefully convince the Chelonians to let you take Jamie. Therefore, the options you choose during your conversation with the leader of the group are very important. If you choose the wrong options at this stage, it will lead you to antagonising them too much and you will have to fight them.
Your sister is very worried.
I will leave my full conversation in here so you can see which options I choose.
The path to truth.
Well, I mean, his sister just wants to speak with him.
Arthur, I've chosen a path.
The boy has chosen a path. He's chosen safety. What path have you chosen?
In the first choice, I deliberately choose impatient here, even though it's an aggressive approach, so that it will enable a more comical approach to getting them to trust you.
Dut. Are you always this negative and antagonistic, sir?
I then choose to apologise, which will help them trust me better.
I'm not a very cultured man. Forgive me, please.
I am a fool for my God and a happy one, sir. I bless you. What do I dream about? Who are my heroes?
This then prompts the leader to ask Arthur what he dreams about and who his heroes are. And of course, there's only one true answer to this. Turtles.
Turtles? Yeah, turtles. Hey, you love turtles. I love them too. Turtles.
Once you've chosen this, then the leader will allow you to speak to Jamie, and you have completed the first objective.
You may speak with him.
Exactly. If your teachings are so great, what harm can I do?
After speaking to Jamie, Jamie is scared and then mounts a horse to get away from Arthur, and you have to ride after him to stop him. There's no objective to meet for this bit, but it can be a little bit tricky because Jamie is a good rider. So you might have to practice this a couple of times. You'll eventually know the direction he runs and be able to anticipate where to go. I won't be skipping this chase like I normally do, and I will let all of it play out so you can see what I do and how I avoid things. The best advice I can give you is to keep Jamie within sight at all times so you can see what direction he's riding in.
They're just using you.
During the chase, you should also keep an eye on your horse's stamina. Remember that if you keep calming the horse as you're riding by pressing down on the left stick, it will enable you to refresh the horse's stamina.
I was doing just fine by myself.
Come on, Jamie, your sister's worried about you.
You pop up out of nowhere?
Yeah. Come on, you ain't stupid. You can see this is crazy.
You're the crazy one.
Just stop and let's talk about this.
This is none of your damn business. You little jackhead. Sorry, mister.
Damn it, we gotta do this the hard way. What are you gonna do, Jamie? Live the rest of your life in the mountains with those people?
They're my friends.
Yeah.
If you don't leave me alone, I'll shoot you. I swear it.
What are you talking about? You ain't no killer.
You don't know who I am.
When you get to the part where Jamie tries to scare the cows to slow you down, you can avoid them by actually riding parallel to them instead and not riding through them. After this, you will reach the rail track and it will trigger the next cutscene. During this cutscene, Jamie will fire his gun and then threaten to take his own life, and it's down to you to stop him doing it. When Deadeye is triggered, you must target the gun in Jamie's hand. If you fail at the first attempt, don't panic, because you will not have to restart the whole mission. You can just keep trying until you target the gun correctly. So to confirm, failing here will not damage any of the objectives, and you can simply keep trying until you get it right. With that part done, after the next cutscene, the final objective needs to be met, and you will need to take Jamie to Mary at the train station within 2 minutes.
Okay. I missed you, Arthur.
Once you're mounted, we're going to completely ignore the waypoint yellow marker that the game provides you.
That's
All you need to do is turn to your left, get on the railroad track and follow it through the tunnel, and keep following it until you reach the train station in Valentine. This part is so quick that you don't even get a chance to finish your conversations with Jamie during the ride.
Didn't try to kill yourself.
You know, you taught me how to ride a horse.
Too well, apparently.
As you approach the oil factory, you don't need to worry about triggering any of the guards. Just keep following the same rail track as I do and ride straight through.
Sure. Please tell me you didn't give them any money.
Of course I did. They rely on charitable donations.
Jesus, Jamie, come on.
I just wanted to believe that there might be something good coming my way one day. Guess that's dead in the water.
With the
Once you get past the oil factory, you're at the last part of your journey. Just keep following the track until you see the train station.
You're not enough of a man. I had to get away. I couldn't take it anymore.
Forgive me, but your father's a bully and a coward. Don't listen to him.
Hey, don't talk about him like that.
What do you want me to say, Jamie? He's a good father? Nice man?
He won't be happy I saw you.
Please send him my worst regards.
The thing is, he's right. I'm not good at anything.
So now we can see the train station ahead. All you need to do is veer to the right slightly, which will take you to the entrance.
Here we are. She must be waiting inside.
As you can see, we've reached the train station in plenty of time. We just need to go into the station now and find Mary, who is waiting for you on the left-hand side.
Jamie! Jamie!
Thank you so much for watching. A link to the playlist for all my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. Another pretty easy gold medal you can get is by doing this very first mission introducing you to bounty hunting. The objectives for this mission are as follows. Stop Benedict Albright falling off the cliff. Hog tie Albright within 1 minute and 15 seconds. Return Albright to the sheriff within 1 minute and 30 seconds. Before I start showing you how to reach the objectives, I want to give you some advice to make this a lot easier before you even start the mission. Go into the settings menu and to the control section. You'll find an option called tap assist. Change it to hold instead of tap. This means that every time you get a quick time action, instead of frantically tapping like mad, you can now hold the correct button instead. Toggling this option will also make saving Albright from falling off the cliff a lot easier. So on with the mission. As with a lot of my gold medal guides, I'm doing this on a regular playthrough rather than a replay. This has no advantage, and doing this on a replay is just as easy. When I recorded this mission, it had been a while since I'd actually played the game, and so I wasn't as fast as doing it as I normally would have been. But I still managed to get the goal, proving that it's a really easy one to get. We start off the mission at the sheriff's office in Valentine, where the sheriff asks you to track down someone called Benedict Albright, who is apparently selling a miracle cure and poisoning their townsfolk. They ask Arthur to track him down. The next part of the mission is to ride to Albright's location, so we will skip ahead this part to when we arrive. The ride there is not part of any of the objectives, so you can take as long as you want to get there. So now we've arrived by the river. Albright is to be found on the ridge to your left, so you can ride straight there like I do. If you're doing it on a normal playthrough and want a free horse, leave the horse you're riding by the water and walk up to the ridge instead. As you approach Albright, Arthur will automatically dismount from your horse, and you need to carry on walking to reach him. When you get there, use L2 or left trigger to begin talking to him. We're now fast approaching the first objective, which is to stop Albright from falling off the cliff. You will then get a short cutscene where Arthur is trying to persuade Albright to come back to the sheriff's office with him. However, Albright has other ideas. Once you come out of this cutscene, you must be ready to act quickly in order to save Albright. Immediately push your left stick upwards and then hold down the X button or the A button if you're on the Xbox. Keep it held down until Arthur has safely pulled him back up. If you haven't changed your tap assist settings, then you will have to keep tapping the button instead of holding it. You have to do it extremely fast while keeping the left stick upwards. This can be tricky, which is why changing the tap assist settings makes it much easier for you.
You say
If you fail and Albright falls into the water, you will need to restart the mission. After you save Albright, you will get another cutscene where he ends up turning around and jumping into the water anyway. Once you're out of this cutscene and back on your horse, the timer will start in order for you to meet the next objective, which is to hogtie Albright within 1 minute and 15 seconds. As soon as you're back in control of Arthur, immediately ride your horse as fast as you can, following the path that I take. There's no need to get into cinematic mode. As you can see along the way, I do make a couple of mistakes which add on a few seconds more to the timer, so I end up hogtying him dead on 1 minute and 15 seconds. When Arthur yells out, "I gotta cross," this is your signal to cross the river to the other side. Make sure you have your lasso ready for when you finally reach Albright.
Grab onto something. Get over to the bank. Hold your breath.
As you can see in a moment, because it's been a while since I played the game, I second guess the direction of where I'm going and lose some vital seconds by slowing down. The path here is fully straight on from now, so just keep riding as fast as you can. Once you get to this part where the rocks are going down to a more open section, this will be the place where you'll be able to get near Albright and hogtie him, so be prepared. Once you have him in sight, don't delay and press L2 to aim the lasso and right 2 to catch him. If you're on Xbox, that will be left trigger and right trigger instead. Once you've lassoed him, walk backwards to drag him out of the water. As you can see, because I'm out of practice, I accidentally let go of L2 by mistake, which releases him. So make sure you keep hold of L2 at all times and then approach and hogtie him. The only other advice I have for this section is to dismount your horse near to the water as you can, so that when you pick Albright up, you don't have to run too far to put him on the back of your horse. This is because as soon as he's on your horse, it will trigger the last objective, which is to deliver Albright to the sheriff's office within 1 minute and 30 seconds. Although the game warns you that taking a hogtied person through the water could drown them, you don't need to worry here, and you can immediately ride straight across the water once you've mounted the horse like I do. By doing this and ignoring the path Rockstar want you to go initially, this will shave off a few seconds of travel time. Once across, carry on around the riverbank and you will find a path going to the left where you will rejoin the waypoint marker. You can now safely follow this waypoint marker back to Valentine. Just keep up the pace and avoid any obstacles along the way.
Suffering from exposure. Suffer a little longer.
As you approach Valentine, you'll notice that it's busier than usual, so take care to take a wide berth of vehicles and people so you don't collide with anything.
Sir, I must warn you, my temperature is subnormal.
Once you reach the office, there is no need to hitch your horse, just dismount right outside and immediately take Albright off the back of your horse.
I don't need to deal with this shit. Hold on. Alright, let's go.
From here, walk straight into the sheriff's office and go directly to the jail cell on your right, where you can drop Albright onto the floor. As you can see here, I do this with plenty of time to spare. With Albright delivered, we can then let the last cutscene play out and interrupt an awkward moment between Sheriff Malloy and a married woman by the name of Moira Calthorpe. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this guide was helpful. If you have any helpful advice for others I haven't included here, please let us know in the comments section. A link to the playlist for my guides on gold medal missions are linked in the description, along with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2. The next gold medal I'm going to show you is from the second of the Pouring Forth Oil series of missions, where you must steal an oil wagon. The problem you have is that there is only one objective, which is to deliver the wagon to the drop-off within 1 minute and 45 seconds, and this is no easy task. Therefore, I've labelled this gold medal as very hard. The first of the missions starts by talking to John at Horseshoe Overlook, where you start to plan a robbery. John asks you to steal a wagon and deliver it to a place near Dewberry Creek.
Leave it hidden somewhere near there.
Depending on the time of day that you accept this mission, the location of the wagons shown on your map may vary to mine. During the day, one of the wagons can be sometimes found in Valentine and the other at the oil factory. For the purposes of getting a gold medal though, we must head straight to the oil factory. This is the main gate of the oil factory. If you've arrived at a time when both wagons are here, There will be a wagon located near the main gate and one located at the back. It is the one at the back we're going to attempt to steal. As you can see, I'm doing this on a regular playthrough. The only advantage to this is that you can give Arthur a nice healthy yellow core. The downside is you must make sure that your horse follows you when you're on the wagon. There are no disadvantages to doing this on a replay, so if you are doing it on a replay, one good advantage is you won't need to worry about getting a bounty or whether your horse follows you or not. Because I'm doing this on a regular playthrough, I want to make sure my horse follows me. So I make sure to put my horse near to the train tunnel that you can see ahead of me. Obviously in a replay this won't matter. I then run on foot towards the back entrance of the oil factory. Your starting position will be here. Make sure you wear a mask to avoid getting a bounty if you're not doing this on a replay. As you can see, the back entrance is to my left, which is where the rail tunnel was. The wagon is just beyond the fence in the middle, and the front entrance is to my right. Before I go ahead and show you how I steal the wagon, I want to quickly show you the map and the drop-off point so you can see how far you need to travel. I am currently stood at the back of the oil factory facing the fence here, and the drop-off point is all the way to the south near the stables. So now I will show you the entire ride with the wagon and how I steal it. What we're going to do is jump over the fence, so position yourself as near to it as possible. But I want to make sure that there isn't a guard that is too close before I jump over. There's no need to shoot any of the guards here. Our aim is to steal the wagon and get it out of the oil refinery as quickly as possible. I wait a moment to make sure this guard here walks away before I make a move. Once I see there aren't any guards near the wagon, I hop over the fence and run to the wagon and get on it. As soon as you're on the wagon, the timer will start, so you have to act quickly. Drive the horses as fast as you can, steering them left out of the back entrance. Once out of the entrance, follow the path straight forward, bypassing the rail tunnel onto the fields beyond. The guards will immediately start shooting at you, and you'll probably find that they will damage the oil tank. That's fine, but if you're too slow here, they will damage it too much and it will blow up. Now all you have to do is direct the wagon towards the yellow endpoint on your mini-map. There won't be too many obstacles in your way and the majority of the journey is flat. Make sure you head to the left of the rocks ahead. Once you get past the rocks on the right here, there will be a signpost. Just be ready and make sure you don't collide with it. As you start heading towards this small slope here, beyond it will be the creek, which has high banks that can damage the wagon. So you need to look for the dip in the bank and head for that in order to cross the creek. Once you cross the creek, you're almost there. Keep going towards the endpoint on your mini-map. The next part is probably the most difficult part, which is to try and navigate the wagon around the tight corner of the drop-off point. It is probably easier to steer the wagon to the left of this rock here, but I try to be clever and steer it to the right, and the horses decided otherwise, so I lose some seconds where we bump into the tree. Luckily this mistake didn't matter though. The timer ends as soon as the wagon crosses into the yellow circle. You will probably find that you will need to attempt this mission a few times before finally getting the gold. It can be extremely annoying and time consuming. If this does frustrate you too much, remember there are lots of other easier golds you can get to help towards your target of getting the Gold Rush trophy. I hope you found this helpful. Please do let me know in the comments section if you have any other helpful advice for others that I haven't included here. A link to the playlist for all my gold medal trophy guides are in the description. After you've spoken to John about stealing ore wagons in Pouring Forth Oil 2, the mission A Fisher of Men becomes active. This mission sees Arthur take Jack on a fishing trip. This is an easy one to add to your trophy list and the objectives are as follows. 1. After arriving at the river, catch a fish within 1 minute and 30 seconds. And 2. Complete the whole mission within 7 minutes and 20 seconds. If you struggle with fishing, there is one helpful tip I can give you, and that is to go into the control section of the settings menu and scroll down to the very bottom of the list under accessibility. There is an option here to change how your fishing controls work. change it to hold to reel. This will make it easier to reel the fish once you've caught it. With that said, let's get on with the mission. As you can see, I'm doing this in a regular playthrough where I always save my game first before attempting a mission in case I fail to get the gold medal. However, doing this on a replay has no disadvantages, especially as there's no combat involved.
Hi, Arthur.
So, we start the mission talking to Abigail. Depending on what time of day it is, you will either go straight into finding Jack in camp, or the game will force Arthur to sleep and change it to daytime. The overall timer for the mission starts as soon as the game says "Go to Jack" at the bottom of your screen. The timer does not include any of the cutscenes, so you can happily skip them if you want. You must first locate Jack, who is sitting near the hitching post at the entrance of the camp. A yellow circle will appear on your minimap showing you the direction to walk in. You're prevented from running in camp as always, so just make sure you walk as fast as you can in Jack's direction. When you finally reach Jack, make sure you interact with him to trigger Arthur to talk to Jack and ask him to go fishing with you. I'm going to show you the entire duration of this mission. In the top left corner will be the overall timer, and in the left hand corner will be the timer for the fishing objective when we arrive. I will of course speed through the cutscenes when they occur. I'm not sure if this part of the interaction with Jack is actually included in Rockstar's timer objective, but I leave the timer running here because, as you can see, at the end of the mission I complete it well within time.
Go catch us some fish.
There is nothing you can do to speed up this part, and you will have to be patient and wait for Arthur to help Jack on his horse.
Let's go then.
Once Jack is safe and mounted on the horse, just follow the yellow waypoint marker. You can try to cut corners if you want to try and reduce the time it takes for you to get to the river, and ride as quickly as the game will allow. In fact, if you ride too slow, Jack even tells you to ride faster on the journey.
Well, I don't know about brave. I ain't much of a kid no more. Well, your mama might disagree. Her and a few other women, I guess.
What do you mean?
I'm just talking silly. Been a tough few weeks up in that snow.
I like the snow.
Yes, but not like that.
When are we going back to the other camp?
The one
If you're travelling fast enough when you get to the yellow circle where you have to dismount, you will likely cut off some of the dialogue as you arrive at the river.
For now, anyway. Why? All right.
Once you've dismounted, this is the time to meet the first objective of catching a fish within 1 minute and 30 seconds. The timer will start as soon as the game tells you to walk to the riverbank to start fishing. As soon as you're back in control of Arthur, run to the water's edge, which is marked by a yellow circle on your minimap. Open your weapon wheel and the game will flash the correct slot where you can find your fishing rod.
First,
follow the game's directions to add cheese bait to the rod. The game restricts you and you must choose cheese and nothing else. Once you've done this, immediately cast your fishing line out into the water. Try not to cast the fishing line out too far, so that when you catch a fish and start reeling, you don't need to reel for too long. You can see the timer for catching the fish in the top left corner. We need to catch it within 1 minute and 30 seconds. The game is teaching you how to fish, with Arthur basically saying don't hook the fish until the fish takes its second bite at the bait. The game will automatically get a fish to take the second bite as soon as Arthur has completed these instructions to Jack. So be ready to hook the fish using right trigger or R2 as soon as you hear him say, yank hard to hook it. As you can see here, because I've changed the settings to hold to reel, all I have to do is continuously hold down the square button to reel the fish in.
look, Jack, it's a bluegill. It's almost as small as you. We should really throw these smaller ones back. Give them a chance to grow up a bit.
We must now wait until Jack decides to take a break so he can go and make a necklace for Abigail. Continue to fish with Arthur whilst Arthur talks to Jack about fishing.
I'm gonna pick some of those red flowers. I'll be right back.
My advice once Jack goes off to pick the red flowers is to continue to catch at least 2 more fish, as long as you catch them quickly. There is essential dialogue here that must take place before the next cutscene can trigger, so either carry on fishing or wait for the dialogue to play out. If you continue to fish after the essential dialogue plays out, there is a chance you could delay the next part of the mission, which is a cutscene with the Pinkerton agents Milton and Ross.
You gotta stick at things, Jack.
I know.
All right. Let's see what's biting there.
Fishing sure is boring, Uncle Arthur.
I know. Boring as hell. But then, something happens. And you can get food for days.
Really?
If you're lucky. But until then, you just sit and wait. Try not to worry. It's good for you.
It's good for you?
I guess.
Once Arthur has had this conversation with Jack, which ends with the line, "It's good for you," this is the end of the essential dialogue, and the next part will be the cutscene. For me, catching this last fish actually delayed the cutscene from triggering for a few seconds. Therefore, this is a perfect demonstration of where the fishing will get in the way, so it may be better for you to catch only 2 fish whilst this essential dialogue plays out.
Hey, look at this.
What?
This necklace
Once you
I
enter the
made.
cutscene, the timer will be put on hold until you're back on your horse with Jack.
Fine young man.
Let's fast forward now to the
In
ride back to
such
camp.
complex circumstances.
When back in control of Arthur, quickly mount your horse and
Getting
wait for
late,
Jack.
Your mother'd be worried. Let's head back.
The timer will not start again until the game directs you to head back to Horseshoe Overlook.
Why did
You can
lie
mainly
about
stick
where
to the
Uncle
waypoint
Dutch
marker
is?
on your minimap for the ride back, but as you can see, I try to cut some corners when I get nearer to the camp to shave off a few more seconds from the timer.
What did they mean about Mac? Is he in jail?
No, I don't think so. I hope he's just fine where he is. Like I said, don't
This is the
worry
main
about
shortcut you can take as you approach the camp, where you go straight on towards the end point instead of following the marker.
To protect you from folk like them. Now, how about that necklace you made? You still got it, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Good. Well, did you like fishing?
It was okay, I think. It's a lot of waiting around.
It is.
Once you reach the hitching post, the overall timer finishes and you will then trigger the final cutscene.
We just need to stay.
As always, I will show you the final completion of the mission so you can see me achieve the gold mission for this trophy. I hope you found this helpful. Please do let me know in the comments section if you have any other helpful advice for others that I haven't included here. A link to the playlist for all my gold medal trophy guides are in the description. We're very close to completing chapter 2 now, with just 3 missions to go. This mission by far is one of my favourites in the game. This is where we finally get to upgrade our Deadeye and the ability to manually tag targets. I will fast forward some of the unnecessary parts to reduce the length of this video, but please don't be tempted to skip, otherwise you may miss important information and advice I'm trying to give you. If this guide ends up helping, I would really appreciate you clicking on the like button to help the algorithm, and drop me a comment, especially if you have extra help that can assist others. With that being said, we must meet the following objectives to get a gold on this mission, and there's a lot of them. 1. Kill all the train guards before Sean fires a shot. 2. Clear the baggage car of loot. 3. Escape the law within 1 minute and 30 seconds. 4. Get 10 kills in Deadeye. And 5. Complete the mission without taking any health items. As with a lot of my gold medal guides, I'm doing this on a regular playthrough. The advantage of this is that you can give Arthur full health and Deadeye calls before starting it. But first, if you're doing this on a replay though, one major advantage is that you can make sure your favoured weapon is in the bottom slot of your loadout. To show you this in action, I've inserted some extra footage for you to see how you can do this. Simply get off the wagon after the first cutscene and run to your horse. By putting your favourite weapon in the bottom slot, it will retain it in the loadout and you won't be forced by the game to use the carbine repeater. It must be in the bottom slot though, so the game doesn't change it. Back to my regular playthrough now. I will now fast forward this cutscene to when we get on the wagon and make our way to the train. As we ride the wagon to the train, I want to explain to you the meaning of the last and overall objective of the mission, which is to complete the mission without using any health items. Health items include any food in your bags that you have either cooked or picked up, such as meat or cans. It also includes tonics such as health tonics, miracle tonics, moonshine, or anything else that fortifies your health. You can, however, take any items and tonics that fortify your stamina or Deadeye cores only, such as alcohol, bitters, chewing tobacco or snake oil, because these do not affect your health. Now the overall objective is explained, let's fast forward to the exciting part and the amazing shot of Arthur as he stands on the ore wagon to stop the train. From this point on, it's going to be full on, so I hope you're ready for the ride. I'm going to show you the full duration of the mission moving forward so you can see exactly how I tackle each of the objectives. For now, I follow the game's directions and board the train to help John relieve its customers of their valuable items.
Everybody stay calm and nobody will get shot. Go!
I absolutely love this part and go to town by robbing all the passengers of extra items as I walk through the train. However, this isn't necessary or essential if you're concerned about your honour level. You just need to interact with the specific NPCs that John asks you to in order to encourage them to give up their valuables.
What's the problem here?
I'll do anything.
Money, valuables, now!
Don't do this. Just give it to him, Thomas, please.
Okay, okay, in the bag, everything you got. Keep it coming, don't be shy.
People like you make
I
me
need
sick.
all your money, my
You seem to
friend.
think we're playing
You
games.
got a big problem. I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2. God damn it. Sick is better than dead, lady. I'm losing my goddamn patience.
Let's just do what he says so this can be over. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a
Money?
robbery. Let's make
Nothing
this quick.
else. Make me hurt you.
Tough guy, huh? You sure about that?
No, you go
You
ahead
sure
and
this
look for
son
the
of a
baggage
bitch we
car.
ain't playing around here?
Why are you wasting our time, huh? Quick, come on!
This is
Come on, partner. Come on, quick!
everything you got. Money, valuables.
I wasn't
Leave
gonna
it until
rob
this
you,
bag's
ma'am.
full.
You won't get a damn
Alright.
cent from me.
Let me hand you over to my
Everything
friend
you
then.
got. Don't be an idiot. Money now! Son of a bitch.
Come on, cup it up, people. Don't be shy. Everything you got. Let's go.
Empty your pockets, mister, and you can be on your way.
When entering the last carriage, this is when John tells Arthur to go ahead and join Sean in the baggage car. This will be the moment where our Deadeye is upgraded and we can finally manually tag targets by using R1 whilst we aim. Many people playing this mission for the first time around would have missed the game's directions here. To manually tag a target, you must be aiming first by using L2 or left trigger. You must then activate Deadeye by pressing R3, which is the right stick pressed down like a button. With Deadeye active, you then need to move your weapon reticle to the head of the enemy. To tag it, you then press R1 or right bumper on the Xbox. At this point, if you have other enemies within range, you could continue to move the reticle to tag multiple enemies. Once you've tagged the enemy, you then press R2 or right trigger to shoot the target. As soon as you've pressed R2, you will immediately come out of Deadeye. Note that the longer you're in Deadeye, the faster your inner core will drain. So as you will see, I usually only take on more than one target if they're close together and I can tag them quickly, so that it doesn't drain the Deadeye core. In order to fortify your Deadeye core, use snake oil or chewing tobacco before the outer bar depletes.
There's probably something in here.
We're now going to focus on the first objective, which is to kill all the train guards before Sean fires a shot. There are 4 guards you have to kill. The first is the one attacking Sean, the second is the one that appears on top of the roof, and the third and fourth appear at the back of the baggage car. You need to be quick, and using the new tagging skill will help meet this objective. Once all 4 of the guards are down, we then move on to the second objective, which is to clear the baggage car of loot. You can see on your minimap there will be 4 areas marked for you to search. Once you've searched and looted the items, the markers will disappear. Keep moving through the carriage, heading for these markers. You need to loot all 4 areas before the next cutscene triggers. The game will only give you a certain amount of time before it starts, so don't waste time here and work quickly through the carriage. The last area to be searched will be the trunk at the back of the baggage car. If you're doing this on a regular playthrough, it's probably worth freeing up your satchel valuables before starting, so that you do not have to discard anything during the mission in order to pick up the loot. You must pick up all the loot in all of the cabinets to reach the objective. I've now reached the last trunk at the back of the baggage car. This is the game's cue to trigger the next cutscene.
Arthur, we've got a problem. There's 2 arseholes on horses.
How many you say? In my big mouth.
So now we move on to objective 4, which is to get 10 kills in Deadeye. If done correctly, you should already have notched up a total of 4 while saving Sean. It's worth also noting that the game is not expecting you to get headshots. So don't worry if you don't tag them correctly. Getting headshots is a more secure way to actually make sure you get them properly down though, because this is understandably one of an enemy's critical areas of their body. I will let this play out now so you can see how I manage my Deadeye cores. Remember what I said about taking snake oil or chewing tobacco before the outer bar of your Deadeye depletes. Using these tonics fortifies the outer bar and stops the inner core from draining. If the inner core drains and becomes red, it will be much harder to target anything in Deadeye, even when using snake oil. As soon as you hear the gang whistle their horses, the gunfight is over, and it's now time to escape the law within 1 minute and 30 seconds. Use the minimap to see where your horse is and run over to mount up. All you have to do now is head for the back of the train and follow the railroad track to escape. This is by far the quickest way to escape the law, and you won't even need the full 1 minute and 30 seconds the game gives you to escape. Just be careful to stay on the track, as there are places you could potentially fall off it. Once you've escaped the law, the very last cutscene will trigger, and all you have to do then is hope and pray that you manage to meet all the objectives. If you're on a regular playthrough, this is the perfect time to visit Jeremy Gill, who is down by the lake, very near to where you end the mission, to trigger the legendary fishing in-game. If this guide helped you, please remember to hit the like button, and thank you for watching. After we saved Micah from his ultimate demise in Strawberry, we find him hiding just outside of town, knowing that he needs to get back in Dutch's good books before he returns to the gang. During the mission, an American pastoral scene, Arthur helps him out with a plan to intervene with a banking coach that the O'Driscolls had planned to hit. This mission is a timed one, and it must be completed within 6 minutes and without taking any health items. We must also ensure we headshot each of the mounted guards that are protecting the wagon and get 10 kills in Deadeye. I've labelled this mission hard due to the unforgiving time limit the game forces upon us. As with the majority of my gold medal guides, I will be doing this during a regular playthrough. I always make sure I save the game prior to attempting a mission in case of mistakes. The advantages of doing so in a regular playthrough are that you can give Arthur full gold, health and Deadeye cores. However, doing this on a replay is still achievable because Rockstar are generous with the items you are provided, such as tonics. You also have one other advantage in a replay where you have access to guns you have unlocked, depending on which stage of the game you are replaying it from. Getting headshots and using Deadeye is vital to the success of this mission. If you need a reminder of how to manually tag targets, see my gold medal guide for Pouring Forth Oil Part 4, where I give full instructions, and also watch my guide on how to maintain your cause. Links to both these videos will be in the description. I want to first address a couple of points about the timing of this mission before I go on to show the rest of the mission and the other objectives. I've seen a few comments on Reddit and other YouTube videos which suggest you should turn off the kill cam effects in the settings menu. This is not the case here, and you do not need to do this. I have not turned the kill cam off when I do this mission, as you will see, and I was still able to meet the timed objective. The other point I want to make is regarding the cutscenes. These are not included in the timer, and skipping or watching them makes no difference to the end result. After the first cutscene has ended, we need to quickly mount our horse and follow Micah for a couple of minutes. Try to keep your horse riding at the fastest speed the game will allow you. This will force Micah also to ride just a little bit faster. There's no shortcut here, just ride as fast as you can. Whilst we're riding, I now want to make sure you're aware of the objective of not using any health items. As described in previous videos, what this means is that you must not eat, drink or take any tonics that affect your health. This would include items such as cooked meat, cans of food, miracle tonic or health tonics. You are, however, allowed to take items that will boost your Deadeye only, such as alcohol, chewing tobacco or snake oil. As you can see in the top left hand corner, I've placed an estimated mission timer. This will be paused during various parts of the mission, including during cutscenes. It's tricky to work out where to pause the timer, but generally it's mostly when you're not physically in control of Arthur, apart from the wagon ride later on. As you can see here, I'm riding at speed, which is level to Micah, constantly pushing him to keep at his top speed. When you get to the small wooden bridge up ahead, you should start hearing a conversation about how Micah and Lenny ended up near Strawberry. This should be a good sign that you're riding at a good pace against the timer.
Nothing that needs to concern you. I always pay my share.
It concerns me when you put us in danger and we don't realize till it's too late. Like that move you pulled at Strawberry, making me kill half the town just for your precious guns.
Precious they are. You need to roll a little looser, Morgan.
Looser? I seen you come full undone more than once now, and you only been running with us a few months.
Are we gonna rob this
We're now
coach
approaching the
or
lookout
bigger
point.
about it?
It's at this stage I wasn't sure when to pause the timer, but I believe it's just before we climb the small hill to join Micah, because it's at this point that the game takes over from you and the horse automatically pulls up alongside Micah. After we're standing in place next to Micah, the next cutscene will kick in as we watch the banking coach ride past. As soon as we're back in control of Arthur, we now need to make sure that not only are we keeping up the pace because the timer has started again, but now we also have to make sure that we get headshots on every single one of the guards protecting the coach. You need to be confident in your ability to keep riding forward and using Deadeye to take out the guards. You cannot afford to be falling behind. It's also important to warn you at this stage that you must not take out the driver of the wagon until the very end. The driver will be the person sitting on the left of the wagon. This is because we want to keep the wagon moving forward until the last possible moment before we take out the driver and make it stop. The easiest way to get headshots on each of the guards is to tag their heads using Deadeye, and as I said earlier, if you're not sure how to do this, during my gold medal guide for Pouring Forth Oil Part 4, I give instructions on how to do it. The video will be linked in the description. In short, you need to be aiming first, then use the right stick down like a button to activate Deadeye. Once Deadeye is active, use R1 or right bumper to tag the head, and then press R2 or right trigger to complete the move. Back to the objectives now. The reason I asked you not to take out the driver is because we need to let the wagon go as far as we can. This will make the long ride where Micah takes over driving it as short as possible. I let the driver continue on his way until I see that we are approaching a bridge. The ideal place to take the driver out is either right at the bridge or just after you pass through it. If you leave it any longer, then this driver will turn to the right through a wooded area and end up crushing the wagon, resulting in a fail. Any failures will cause you not to meet the health item objective because the game counts it as a death. Whilst we wait for Micah to get on board, I believe this is a mini cutscene due to the cinematic bar at the top of the screen, so I'll pause the timer whilst waiting for him. We now just have to sit back and wait for Micah to drive extremely slowly towards the river and a safe spot to open the lockbox. Micah driving the wagon so slowly here is the reason why you must always take leaving the original wagon driver out until the very last minute. If you had taken him out first, it would have meant a very long wagon ride with Micah and a failed timer objective. The last objective we need to meet will be after the next cutscene, which is to make 10 kills in Deadeye. If you've taken out all the wagon guards using Deadeye, then you are well on the way to meet this. As you see here, in preparation for the battle ahead, I make sure to fortify the outer bar of my Deadeye core. In order to manage your Deadeye core properly, try to make sure you use a tonic or chewing tobacco before the outer bar depletes. If the outer bar does deplete, it will start to drain the inner core. When your inner core is red, it makes it very hard to aim, even when using a tonic. The final battle takes place after this cutscene, so we'll skip ahead to see the final part. Once out of the cutscene, Arthur is positioned in cover behind a rock. This is the place that I tend to stick to throughout this battle with the O'Driscolls. There is no need to venture further across the river, because once the battle is over, we want to ensure we are near the wagons so we can trigger the end of the mission. The more you can predict where the enemies spawn, the easier this part will become, so be ready for another wagon to appear ahead of you with further O'Driscolls on board. If you're quick enough, you will be able to take them out even before they arrive. As you can see, I make sure my Deadeye doesn't drain too much by activating it one enemy at a time. The only time I will take out more than one enemy is if they are very close to each other. This way you can keep an eye on the outer bar and make sure it doesn't deplete before applying another tonic. Once the enemies on the wagon are down, it's time to walk towards the overturned wagon. If you stay behind the rock like I did, then it will be right next to you and you won't have to go far. All that's left to do now is shoot the lock on the back of the wagon. You can do this as you wait for Micah to walk over and join you, instead of waiting for him to tell you to do it. This will make sure the next cutscene is triggered promptly and helping to ensure you hit the overall timed objective of completing the mission within 6 minutes. As you can see, I've estimated that I managed to do it with just 4 seconds to spare. Thank you so much for watching. If this guide helped you, please remember to hit the like button. And please do let me know in the comments section if you have any other helpful advice for others that I haven't included here. We've now almost reached the end of chapter 2, where Arthur helps John to round up some sheep and cause havoc in Valentine, as we take on the mission called The Sheep and the Goats. There's a lot to pack into this one, and the objectives are as follows. 1. Herd all the sheep into the pen in Valentine. 2. Get 25 headshots. 3. Complete with at least 70% accuracy. And 4. Complete the mission without taking any health items. I will be taking this mission on during a regular playthrough, which has the advantages of being able to give Arthur full health and Deadeye cores. If you're doing this on a replay, you won't be too disadvantaged though, because Rockstar give you enough tonics to get through this, if you take care of your cores. I will get more into that as we progress the mission. This is a long mission, so if you are playing it on a regular playthrough, make sure you save your game first in case you make any errors. We start off by talking to John in Valentine. John asks Arthur to purchase a sniper rifle at the gunsmith's before they then ride off in search of some sheep. During this part of the mission, you just need to follow along with the instructions, so I'll fast forward now to the part where we need to start herding the sheep. Once you've scared off the men guarding the sheep, you first need to mount your horse and round up all the sheep. The sheep will be shown on your minimap as yellow dots. I think this part is pretty easy, but I'll leave it in here so you can see how I do it.
Most cowboys I know are dumb as trees. How hard could it be?
I guess we'll soon find out. Let's get these things. Bring them back to the yards.
Once you're near any of the sheep, just ride behind them and they will join the rest of the herd. Once you've found all the sheep on your minimap, wait for John to tell you that you have them all, and you can then start making your way to Valentine. The endpoint is marked as a yellow X on your minimap. As you can see, you have 15 sheep right now. You need to make sure that all 15 of them are in the herd when you reach Valentine. They're not too difficult to herd, and you just need to ride behind them in a zigzag motion towards the end point. You will need to keep an eye on your minimap for any stragglers and be quick to run behind them to get them to rejoin the herd. I'm sure you will do a much better job than me in keeping them in a straight path using the zigzag method. For some reason I completely forgot to do this at the beginning, so the sheep are running all over the place.
There you go. Watch it.
I finally get them onto the path, and it should be an easy ride forward from this point. You can get Arthur to shout out to make them go faster if you wish. When you're riding behind them, you must take care though that you do not run any of them over. If you run one over and kill them, then it's mission over and you will have to start again because you will have failed the objective. I want to also remind you at this point that throughout this mission you must not use any health items. Health items include things like health tonics, moonshine, cooked meats or tins of food. If you consume anything that affects your health, then it will fail one of the objectives. Once you get to this path, the sheep use their own navigation system here and know exactly where they're going. However, sometimes they do get stuck behind rocks, so be on the lookout for any that fall behind.
Come on. That's more like it.
We've reached the pen and all 15 sheep are now safely delivered. This will trigger another cutscene, after which you will need to join Dutch and Strauss in one of the saloons.
It'll take more than that, boy.
At this point you will want to make sure that you have your best sidearms and repeater selected for when you dismount outside the saloon. Before you enter the saloon, it's also advisable to use a Deadeye tonic such as snake oil or chewing tobacco in preparation for when you have to save John and Strauss outside the saloon. I will fast forward now to the end of the next cutscene when the fast-paced action starts. I'm going to pause briefly here for a minute and explain that during the next part of the mission we will need to make sure we get 25 headshots. Therefore, if you want to be successful, you will want to use Deadeye as much as possible. If you're not confident in using Deadeye, then I recommend that you watch both these tutorials on them that I've done previously. There are full instructions on how to manually tag targets in the Pouring Forth Oil Part 4 Gold Medal Guide, and there is also very detailed instructions on how to maintain all your cores. In fact, during this guide I use some of the same footage you're about to see here. I will link both guides in the description and pin them in the comments section. During the build up to saving John and Strauss, the game gives you instructions to slowly press R2 or right trigger to fill the meter. The more full the meter, the longer you get to aim. So as the game suggests, try to do this as slowly as you can and watch the bottom right of your screen as you do it. Once you've completely pressed down, your Deadeye will be triggered and you can start to manually tag all your targets in one go. Remember, to manually tag a target you have to press R1 or right bumper on each of the enemies. As we need to get 25 headshots, make sure you tag them on their heads. Once all the targets are tagged, you can then press the right trigger or R2 to finish the manoeuvre and shoot all the enemies in one go. If you do this correctly, then this will not affect the inner core of your Deadeye. Once this is done, immediately turn to your right and take cover behind one of the boxes like I do here. From this point on, you must make sure that you get headshots on every single enemy that you aim for. You must also make sure that you don't miss any of the targets. This is why using Deadeye is vital to your success. As you can see here, I'm also using snake oil in order to protect my Deadeye core. If you let the outer bar of your Deadeye deplete, it will start to drain the inner core. So keep an eye on the outer bar and use a tonic before it depletes. If your inner core drains and turns red, it will make targeting much more difficult, even when you take another tonic. To go into Deadeye, you aim first with the left trigger and then press R3 or the right stick like a button, where you will then be able to tag your targets. If you mess up and tag an enemy incorrectly, you can cancel your Deadeye by pressing R3 or the right stick down again. There will be enemies on both sides of the street, so stay behind the wagon to protect yourself and pick them off one by one as you walk. Try not to stay in Deadeye for too long. The longer you're in Deadeye, the more your outer bar will deplete. I even have time to stop and pick up a free hat before joining the wagon. The more you try this mission, the more you will start to learn where all the enemies will spawn from. So if you mess up the first time you try this, it's really worth trying again, as you will start to remember where they all are. It's just a really frustrating mission to do when you're on a replay though, because of how long it is. Maybe you can rewatch this part of the video a few times to help you predict where they all come from. I will let this part play on now so you can see how I slowly make my way down the street picking the enemies off. I do make a couple of mistakes and misses which would have brought my accuracy down a bit, but as long as you don't miss too many, you should stay within the 70% mark that you need to reach the objective.
This is madness! You're on the front line now! Strauss!
As you near the stables, there will be enemies to your right and one on top of the stables. You can also delay picking up Strauss until the very last minute in order to get some more headshots in.
I can't do this! At least you ain't pushing this thing! Horses are over there! Grab Strauss and let's go!
You can't delay this too long though, so when you've cleared the enemies like I do on the right, go ahead and pick up Strauss and take him to John's horse. There will be more time afterwards to get some more headshots in. Once Strauss is on the back of John's horse, there will be a very short cutscene after which you will be left to fend off all the law and local guards. This will be the moment that you can linger a bit longer to make sure you've got enough headshots in. You can potentially stay here for quite a while if you're concerned you do not have enough. However, if you want to escape easily, try to choose a moment when you've killed all the enemies near you before running to your horse. So after the last one is dead, I run towards my horse and attempt to escape Valentine. The path I take is through town and past the train station. This is actually the easiest route in my opinion, because as soon as you're outside the outskirts of Valentine, it will trigger the wanted notification. The law will also stop pursuing you once you are past the train station and away from Valentine. Once the wanted notification disappears, the mission will end, so fingers crossed you did everything correctly and you got your gold medal. Thank you so much for watching. If this guide helped you, please remember to hit the like button, and please do let me know in the comments section if you have any other helpful advice for others that I haven't included here. We've now reached the final mission of Chapter 2, where we help to find the gang a new camp to move to. This mission is a reasonably easy one, and the objectives are as follows. Return the captive to his family within 1 minute and 40 seconds. Get 5 headshots. Complete with at least 80% accuracy, and complete the mission without taking any health items. As with a lot of my gold medal guides, I'm doing this on a regular playthrough, the advantages of which are that you can give Arthur gold, health and Deadeye cores to protect him. However, doing it on a replay has no disadvantages because Rockstar are generous with Deadeye tonics should you need them. Before we move on to the main part of the mission, I want to first remind you that one of your objectives is not to use any health items. This means you must not eat or drink anything that affects your health, including taking health or miracle tonics or moonshine. You can, however, use Deadeye tonics freely because they do not affect your health. During the start of the mission, you travel with Charles to Dewberry Creek, so let's fast forward to our arrival at the creek. Getting gold for this mission can be a bit frustrating if you don't get it done the first time due to the long ride to Dewberry Creek and also the search for the captive's family in the small camp. Once you've found the family hiding behind the wagon, there will be another short cutscene and you will have to then follow Charles on another long ride towards Clemens Point, which is when the final mission and the most important objectives kick into action. So let's skip ahead to our arrival at the new camp. Before we get into the action, please remember the objective of getting 80% accuracy. This means that if you shoot and miss your target, your accuracy will go down. So please take care and make every shot count. Using Deadeye will greatly increase your chances of ensuring that you do not miss your targets and that you get headshots on all of them. In the description I link one of my gold medal guides which goes into great detail how to manually tag targets, so if you're still unsure how to use Deadeye, I recommend you check that video out too. The first 3 targets will always be near the tents here. You will be competing against Charles, who is a great shot with his bow, so try and take them out as quickly as you can. Take care to make sure you always hit your target and manually tag the heads of the enemies by using R1 or right bumper when aiming in Deadeye. Once those targets are down, we will get at least another 4 ride into the camp from the woods, so be quick to come out of cover and advance forward to get them. If you didn't miss any of your targets, then you know that you have achieved that objective. If you want to loot any of them, now is the time to do it before you untie the settler.
You get him untied, and I'll see what they've left
Once all
behind
the
for
enemies
us.
are down, we must then walk towards the captive settler and untie him. The final objective in this mission is to return the captive settler to his family within 1 minute and 40 seconds. I'm not sure exactly when the timer should start here, so I chose to start it once I freed him. However, I have a feeling that the timer doesn't actually start until the game gives you the instruction to return the settler to his family. However, either way, you have more than enough time to beat the timer as long as you don't make any drastic mistakes like falling off or scaring the settler. I will leave the whole ride in here now to show you the route I take. Take care riding through the woods, as this is probably the trickiest bit, avoiding all the trees. It's okay to take this part a little bit slower until you reach the road. There is a small path within the trees you can follow. We will mostly be following the direction of the end marker on the minimap, but I know that it's best to get on the road as quickly as possible, so I veer off to the right a little bit to reach it.
Those men back there, why did they
Take care near this wall and choose to go between the gaps rather than jump it, just in case you fall off. Once you reach the road, you can follow it for a short while.
even come up with them words?
Sie bringen mich zu meiner Familie? Vielen Dank. Wie haben Sie sie gefunden?
Look, I'm sorry, friend. I can barely speak English.
When the road crosses the rail tracks, this is when we start to veer to the right again and head towards the trees ahead. There aren't too many trees here and it's mostly low bushes, so don't worry too much about colliding with a tree because they are easily avoided. Once away from the trees, the path is clear, so keep heading towards the end marker and you will soon be at your destination. As you can see, I easily beat the timer here with approximately 15 seconds to spare. Once you arrive, there will be a short cutscene where Arthur gets a nice surprise, and all you need to do now is wait to see if you managed to get the gold medal. Thank you so much for watching. If this guide helped you, please remember to hit the like button, and please do let me know in the comments section if you have any other helpful advice for others that I haven't included here.